Hi everyone, and welcome back to Interstellars. Today, as I take this walk, I'd like to share some thoughts on the psychology of Squid Game. After watching the new season, I couldn't help but dive into the deeper meanings behind its shocking games, the moral dilemmas, and what it all says about human behavior, inequality, and addiction. There's so much to unpack, from the allure of the high-stakes survival to the social and psychological dynamics that unfold in these intense scenarios. So let's explore together, step by step. Imagine risking your life for a chance to win 45.6 billion Korean won. That's roughly 38 million US dollar. This amount could transform anyone's life. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode. I also love to hear your thoughts. What would you do if you were in the games? What would you prioritize? Trust and alliances, or focus on self-preservation? Share your perspective in the comments below. When Squid Game debuted in 2021, it didn't just capture South Korea's attention. It became a worldwide sensation. In just 4 weeks, it became Netflix's most-watched series of all time, reaching 142 million households globally and topping charts in 94 countries, including the United States. This kind of impact is unprecedented for a non-English production. The show generated nearly 900 million in value for Netflix, despite its modest production cost of 21 million. But why was it so successful? Part of the answer lies in South Korea's cultural export boom. With globally acclaimed films like Parasite and the rise of K-pop icons like BTS, South Korean creators have mastered the art of blending local themes with universal human emotions. At its core, Squid Game is about gambling, not just for money but for survival. The thrill of risk and the hope of reward is fundamental human experience. In psychology, this behavior is rooted in the gambling fallacy, the mistaken belief that the next roll of the dice, the next bet, or the next game will be the one that pays off. Research published in the Journal of Gambling Studies 2020 found that 77% of problem gamblers believe they are more skilled or lucky than others, despite knowing that gambling outcomes are largely random. This distorted thinking keeps people hooked on the belief that a big win is just around the corner. This behavior is driven by dopamine, the brain reward chemicals. Every small win, even if it doesn't offset losses, triggers a dopamine surge, creating a sense of euphoria. Over time, the brain associates this chemical release with gambling, reinforcing the compulsion. But it's not just about winning. Neuroscientists at Cambridge University found that even near misses, those moments when you almost win but fall short, trigger nearly the same dopamine response as actual wins. Another factor is intermittent reinforcement, a concept studied extensively in behavioral psychology. This is when rewards are given unpredictably, which makes the behavior more resistant to extinction. Think of slot machines. They are designed to pay out just often enough to keep players engaged, but not often enough for them to win consistently. Now, think about why the players return to the game after escaping. It's because of the sunk cost fallacy. They believe that they have already invested too much to quit. Research from Rutgers University in 2021 reveals that nearly 85% of problem gamblers continue gambling to recover previous losses, a cycle that only deepens their financial and emotional stress. What makes this even more dangerous is the illusion of control. Players believe that their decisions, like choosing alliances or strategies, can directly influence the outcome, even when the system is rigged. This cognitive bias, combined with the desperation, creates a perfect storm of psychological manipulation. Gambling addiction is often considered one of the hardest dependencies to overcome. Unlike substance addiction, it doesn't involve external chemicals, making it less visible and harder to detect. The addiction is purely psychological, rooted in distorted thinking and the brain reward system. Research published in the American Psychological Association in 2023 highlights how intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictability of rewards, create one of the strongest drivers of compulsive behavior. Globally, it is estimated that 0.4% to 2% of adults are problem gamblers, and in the United States alone, 5 million people meet the criteria for gambling addiction. Yet, only 8% seek help, according to data from Rutgers University. The consequences are severe: financial ruin, family breakdowns, and mental health crisis. But recovery is possible. Programs like cognitive behavioral therapy, known as CBT, support groups like Gambler Anonymous, and technology-based intervention are paving the way for hope. To truly understand Squid Game, we need to dive into the broader South Korean context. The series may be fiction, but it reflects very real struggles rooted in the country's socioeconomic landscape. As of 2023, household debt in South Korea amounts to over 105% of the country GDP. For perspective, this means South Korean households own more than the entire value of goods and services produced in the country annually. A significant driver of this debt is South Korea's hyper-competitive culture, where families often borrow heavily to pay for housing in desirable areas, private education, or businesses. South Korea's education system is famously intense, with families investing heavily in private tutoring or egg-ons. Despite South Korea's reputation as an economic powerhouse, its labor market tells a different story for many. Youth unemployment, while officially reported at 6%, is believed to be much higher when factoring in underemployment of those working temporary or gig jobs. This lack of stability is a major source of stress for younger generation, who are often referred to as the sampo generation, a term that means giving up on three things: marriage, childbirth, and home ownership. These financial pressures are compounded by mental health crisis. South Korea has one of the highest suicide rates among the OECD countries, with 13,000 suicides annually, equating to roughly 35 per day, according to the Korean National Statistical Office. The leading causes of suicide are financial hardship, job insecurity, and academic stress, all themes that Squid Game represents. One of the most fascinating aspects of Squid Game is how quickly people form alliances and divide into groups. This behavior isn't unique to the show. It reflects a deeply ingrained human tendency to split into us versus them. Anthropologists suggest this instinct evolved for survival. In ancient times, small, tightly bonded groups had better chances of defending themselves against predators, securing food, and surviving natural threats. The show also delves into the psychology of trust and how it interacts with morality. Humans have an innate sense of fairness and loyalty, but these values often clash with the instinct for self-preservation. Despite their differences, players band together, pooling their strengths and relying on trust to overcome the odds. These scenes highlight a powerful truth. Even in dire circumstances, humans are capable of unity, collaboration, and mutual reliance. Trust, though fragile, becomes a lifeline when nurtured and shared. The show ultimately forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about our own values and limits. Would you betray someone to save yourself? Could you remain loyal in the face of danger? The answers are rarely simple, but Squid Game compels us to think deeply about the choices we'd make if everything was on the line. Squid Game doesn't just explore survival, it delves into the darkest corners of human psychology, including our capacity for dehumanization, the influence of Darwinian instinct, and why we are naturally drawn to violence in entertainment. In Squid Game, players are given numbers instead of names, and their identities are masked by uniforms. This dehumanization makes it easier for the organizer and even the player themselves to rationalize violence. Research from Stanford University's famous 1971 prison experiment showed how quickly people adopt roles of power or submission when others are dehumanized. Participants playing guards use extreme methods to control their prisoners, highlighting how anonymity and group dynamics can escalate cruelty. This ties closely to the idea of social Darwinism, the belief that only the fittest survive. Studies published in Evolutionary Psychology in 2019 suggest that humans are subconsciously wired to compete for resources, status, and survival, especially in high-stress environments. But why are we, as an audience, so drawn to these violent narratives? From gladiatorial games in ancient Rome to modern action films, humans have always been captivated by violence as entertainment. Neuroscience provides some answer. A 2014 study in Frontiers in Psychology revealed that watching violent scenarios trigger activity in the amygdala, the brain center for emotion and threat detection, while simultaneously activating reward pathways associated with excitement and adrenaline. This creates a mix of fear, empathy, and thrill that many find irresistible. Perhaps that's what makes the show so compelling. It forces us to confront not just the character choices, but also our own darker impulses as viewers. Other examples well known of survival dystopia are the Hunger Games and Battle Royale, the Japanese cult classic that laid the groundwork for the survival game genre. Both works, like Squid Game, challenge us to consider what we would do when forced into situations that test our humanity. Recently, Mr. Beast Games premiered on December 2024. Also, this is a high-stake reality competition where there are 1,000 contestants into a thrilling battle for a staggering 5 million cash prize, making it the largest prize in television game show history, captivating audiences with this unique blend of entertainment and excitement. Parasite, another South Korean masterpiece, where the two families in the movie represent opposite ends of the socioeconomic spectrum, and their collision leads to devastating consequences. Then, Snowpiercer, directed by Bong Joon-ho, which uses a dystopian train as a metaphor for class stratification. The poor live in the squalor at the back of the train, while the rich indulge in luxury at the front, and the fight to move up in the train reflects the same themes of rebellion and inequality that resonate in Squid Games. George Orwell, in 1984, while less focused on survival games, examines how power and control can strip away individual freedoms, like the masked guards and VIP in Squid Games. The totalitarian regime in 1984 dehumanized people, treating them as pawns in larger game of control. Black Mirror often explored dystopian realities where technology and societal structures push individuals to their breaking points. Episodes like 15 Million Merits, where people are forced to compete in degrading games for survival and freedom, bear striking similarities to Squid Game, critic of a dehumanizing system. How do we break free from gambling addiction? The good news is that recovery is possible and the science offers effective solutions. Research in the Lancet Psychiatry 2022 shows that cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) has success rate of over 50% of treating gambling addiction. CBT helps individuals identify and reframe distorted thinking patterns like the illusion of control. Support groups like Gamblers Anonymous provide accountability and community. Study from Rutgers University revealed that such a program can reduce relapse rates by 30%. Technology is also making a difference. with apps that block gambling sites and tools to track spending. For example, in Sweden, national gambling helplines report that 90% of callers benefit from initial guidance and resources. If you or someone you know is struggling, know that help is available. It's not an easy journey, but with support, recovery is absolutely possible. Squid Game isn't just a show, it's a reflection of the choices, struggles, and hopes that define us. It challenges us to confront the darker side of human nature while reminding us of the resilience we are capable of. With its themes of inequality, survival, and moral dilemmas, Squid Game hit a nerve in a post-pandemic world, where economic hardship and social divides are felt more than ever. Its accessibility, thanks to Netflix subtitles and dubs in over 30 languages, also played a key role in its global reach. So, when we talk about Squid Game, we are not just discussing a TV show. We are talking about a cultural milestone that reflects South Korea's dominance in storytelling and its ability to connect with audiences across the globe. Let me know your thoughts. What lesson did you take from Squid Game? And if you find this episode meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, reach the star within and reflect on the choices that define who you are. See you next time.